As a Brit watching Asmon and chat talk about the UK protests, it's so infuriating. Oh boy, somebody's unhappy about what I said. The lack of knowledge about the social situation, while not surprising, makes it hard to watch. Oh wow, okay, so this is the this is very usual thing. So you have Asmon doesn't know what he's talking about, with no example of what I don't know. Wow, what a surprise. This has never happened before. I think social media makes its countries guilty of this. Asmon came across as another clueless yank, doesn't know anything. To even imply that the majority would vote for the next Hitler is insulting, suggesting that the reasonable concerns held by the silent majority will lead all people to abandon all morals in favor of fascism. The antithesis of traditional British values piss off. That's exactly what I'm saying. And I think that this person is delusional by thinking that it's not possible. And also, when Hitler got... People didn't vote for Auschwitz. They voted for making the German economy strong, making it focused on Germans, and making it be something that, you know, German people can be proud of. They didn't vote on this right away. So when you try to look at and you say, oh, well, they're going to just... It's not like somebody is going to go up there and say, hey, guys, I'm Hitler. It's me. Vote for me. I want to kill everybody. They're not going to do that. They're going to elect somebody that has a strong authoritarian presence, that is willing to do things that are extreme, but the population thinks are acceptable. And this will happen enough to where this person generates a degree of trust within their country, and then they radicalize. That's what happens, and that's what's happened many times. So voting for the next Hitler, I think this is absolutely the case. I feel like a lot of people like this, because I said basically that I feel like if Europe keeps having this stuff happen, they will eventually elect another Hitler. And I think this is very true. And it's funny to me to think that somebody says the antithesis of traditional British values. You'd be really surprised at how fast those values go away the moment that people are scared or afraid and somebody else offers them a solution. They'll go away instantaneously. These values can only be held inside of a society that people feel safe into. And the moment that they no longer feel safe in the society, or they feel like the society has failed them, well then, conversely, the values have also failed them, and that's whenever they'll pick something that's more authoritarian or totalitarian. I think that the Philippines is a good example of that, with Duterte. So, this is the real reason why it happens. And so, you really should read and, like, look at... Because, like, for example, like, there was a... Berlin, by the way, used to be, like, the capital of, like, being gay, basically. Like, all LGBT stuff. Germany was the country that the first transgender sex operation was done in. And a lot of the Nazi stuff was actually in response to that. So, if you actually look at... And that's what a lot of the books that were burned were. Was books that were like that. Now, were the books burned because they were about transsexuals? Not necessarily. They were burned because it was Jewish books, right? And they felt like they had taken over their culture. So if you read more about this and you understand it more, now, maybe I'm missing something here, but I don't think that I am. As far as I know, that's what happened. Germans were the pro environment. Yeah, exactly. Webinar Republic, prior to the Great Depression. Yes, and so if you look into this and you see how it happened, Hitler didn't go from being a random failed art major to ruling like a fucking Germany as like a military power and having concentration camps. Like, this didn't happen overnight. It happened over like, what, 15 years, maybe 20 years, somewhere around there. And also, here's another thing. Hitler also didn't win the first time that he tried to push to become to get into politics. It took him like 2 or 3 times. So, you have to look into it. Like, 8? Was it 8 times? I don't know about 8. Oh, you're talking about years. Yeah. I think it was 2 or 3. He failed initially. Yeah. So, you really, you shouldn't write this off. Anyway, I'll read the rest of this. Moreover, the idea of the riots are only because of racism. I never said that. No more people, especially young men outside the hipster London bubble, feel just as disillusioned with the tolerant left and their anti-British rhetoric as do with the out-of-touch. Yeah, I think this is true too. Yeah, and this is also, by the way, feel just as disillusioned with the tolerant left. This also is another breeding ground for totalitarian populism. This is exactly how somebody like a Hitler figure gets into power. This is exactly how it happens. And I'm about to say all this is middle-class white guy, Greater London, doesn't like the Tories. Okay. We've collectively voted to reduce immigration. Yep, exactly. Brexit was driven by many factors. Desire to take back our borders was undoubtedly the decisive issue. White boys are shown to perform worse in schools than any other group. Despite this, no action has been taken to help them. They're still demonized on a daily basis. Yep, of course, right? This is, again, this all goes to what I was saying before. I'm gonna buzzword on Reddit? Yeah, exactly. Non-London white communities have become increasingly impoverished. When you read these sentences, do you guys think this is something that a Hitler-like figure, a totalitarian figure, could capitalize on? Do you think this is something that a guy like that or a woman like that could say, hey, you know what? I've got the solution. Yeah, I think so. 100%, yeah. Exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, it's crazy how this person can basically write they can write all the causal factors for somebody like that to arise, and then somehow refuse to make the link because they believe in some sort of greater culture. This is totally fucking bullshit. People throw that away at a second. The moment that they feel like they're in danger or they're threatened, they're going to throw that away instantaneously. I've heard the same things in history class. Yeah, absolutely. Do you not think Trump is a dictator coded in the same way? Trump is dictator coded in the same way? He is. He absolutely is. And that's the reason why a lot of people don't like him. And I think Trump has done a lot of damage to himself by acting like a dictator. Or sorry, not acting like a dictator, because he really didn't in a lot of cases. He speaks like a dictator in a lot of cases. Like, if you're going to vote for me, you're never going to have to vote again. You know, the first day in office, I'm going to be like a dictator, etc. This is language that I think if he didn't use, it would be better for his, campaign. Question marks? That's all completely out of context. I know that, but speaking in that way lends itself towards taking it out of context. You've been fooled? No, I haven't been. I know what I'm talking about. See, the people that are getting upset about what I'm saying right now, the reason why you're getting upset is because I am not... Like, you're probably... like, I'm going along with this, and I'm explaining why this is happening, and you're like, yeah, true. And now I say this, and now you're like, wait a minute. Wait, I was just truing, but now I'm not truing anymore. Oh my god. You're not listening, and you're not thinking. Stop just, like, fucking reacting and just think for a second, okay? I'm saying that he has done damage to his credibility and his brand by saying things that can be interpreted as things that are dictator-like. He has. I think that this has been damaging for him. Now, the media has made it a lot worse than it actually is. It absolutely has. However, I think that he could have done a better job explaining the way he looks at things. That's the way that I see it. He's not wrong. That's all there is to it. And so if people are unhappy about that, that's fine. And but that's it. Fool, the chatter from the tribe. Yeah, you think I don't know that? Of course I know that. He's not one, but sometimes he can sound like one for sure. Yeah, he does sound like one a lot. And I think that's one of the reasons. And also, by the way, if Trump said that I am going to, like, basically turn myself into a dictator, a lot of the people that are voting for him would be happy. This is the truth. They would be happy if that happened. He has, yeah, but I'm saying, like, if he did and he meant it, right? It wasn't taken out of context. It wasn't some weird thing. No, we wouldn't. All right. Okay. These are the same people that, like, they were interviewed at a Trump rally, and people said, how would you feel about Hulk Hogan being Donald Trump's running mate? And they said, Donald Trump knows what he's doing. I just trust him. See, it's so sad for me to see that people don't even realize how this stuff happens. It's crazy because, like, we've had so many examples in history of this happening, and it happens again, and it's beginning to happen now, and nobody wants to realize it. I think it's because people actually aren't educated. They don't know any of these instances. And so they think that this is all new. So the US is immune to dictatorship, but the UK isn't? I don't think that the US is immune to a dictatorship. I think that we are not close enough to it for it to be a reality. I think that it could be possible in like the next maybe 10 years, maybe 50 years. But I don't think that it's happened. I don't think it's going to happen yet. Forgetting January 6th? No, I mean, like, January 6th was like a... It was bad, right? Bad. January 6th, bad. But it was nothing like an actual dictatorship, right? I mean, let's be honest. There's nothing like it. You typed this a number of times. You'll use extreme examples. What do you think I'm not... What do you think I'm looking at wrong? What's the perspective? A real civil war, I don't think would happen because too many people are soft. Oh, that will happen until it has to happen. Yeah, sure. Okay, so right now, nothing? Okay, so like nothing then, right? The spammer. Yeah, no, you will get... You're gonna get banned for spamming, right? But, you know, again, if you had just typed the first message, it would have been okay. I just don't want to read the spam over and over. It's annoying. That's the reason why. They get mad whenever you talk about their lord, Donald Trump. Well, people get mad when I talk about Donald Trump in a positive way, too. They just get mad, period. That's just what people do. It was Trump trying to steal an election. How's that not tyrannical or dictator-like? Oh, it is, but it's like only like a 2 or a 3 on a scale. Right? I mean, for example, like, so whenever Saddam Hussein... you talk about January 6th, right? So when Saddam Hussein... Like, this dude was fucking like... This dude was... I'm trying to think of a word to diabolical. Let's just use that word. He diabolical. He goes out and he locks all these people in a room. And then when he's taking power, he has a dude read out the names of the guys that were against him. Each of those guys, one by one, gets escorted out and shot and killed. And he just keeps doing it. There's videos of him doing it. I would say, like, again, on a dictator level, January 6th was like a 2 or a 3. Compared to that. That's it. Don't forget gassing his own citizens. Well, you know, that's something. I mean, like, yeah, he televised it, right? Yeah. And why did he televise it? Because it sets an example. It sets an example, and it says to anybody else, if you try to fuck with me, if you try to do anything wrong, I'm going to fucking kill you. Like, that's it. And you know what? He was in charge until we had to go in and take him out of power. It's not like the people overthrew him. He had, bro, like, he was in charge. You're about Harris rally, breaking into the place to use the bathroom? No, I didn't see that at all. No, bring up May 28th like no one fucking does to make your point relevant. I don't know what that even is. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. We had to kill him? Yeah, sure. Would you support a dictatorship? No, I'm not a fan of being in a dictatorship. Let's go back over here real quick. It was revealed our police force had deliberately ignored deeply rooted migrant pedophile rings out of fear of being labeled racist by society and losing their livelihoods. Yep, that's it. And so I'm very confused about this, right? Because, like, I know a lot of these things. I know this is true, right? I've seen this a lot. Yeah, the left constantly claims that groups of Muslims are being prosecuted by the alt-right. Meanwhile, a 2016 poll revealed over 50% of British Muslims supported banning homosexuality, and 23% supported Sharia law. This refusal to assimilate is blatant and very dangerous. This is what I already said earlier, right? Obviously, this is what's going to happen. So, yeah. What's the problem here? So I'm confused, like, how this is a argument against what I said. Yes, you're coming from, but I still believe Asmongold was wrong. While he's right that anti-immigration rhetoric will continue to rise, as we've seen with recent success figures of Nigel Farage, the idea that the majority would support the next Hitler is ludicrous. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see what happens. This is the thing. That was my take too. I know a lot of you guys think that it can't happen. We'll see. Clip it. Let's look in 5 or 10 years and see how close we are. Yeah, how about that? I think that's what's going to happen. A lot of people don't understand how easy it is for it to happen. History repeats itself. It was ludicrous the first time too, yet it happened. Yeah, it's always crazy until it happens. And then it's like, oh, fuck. Like, oh, ooh. Yeah, history always has a tendency to repeat itself. The reason why history repeats itself is because people are the same. So the same things that people want don't change in like 100 years or like even 1,000 years. People still want the same thing. So if you have, like, for example, if you take a bunch of ants, they're gonna make the same type of like anthill like thing every single time, right? It doesn't matter if you did this 50 years ago with ants or today, they're gonna do basically the same thing. It's the same thing with people. History repeats itself, of course. Isn't it harder to happen in modern EU countries compared to USA because they're a lot harder on Nazism, while Republicans welcome Nazism? Good one. Of course they're not going to call it that. They're not going to say, "Oh yeah, we're Nazis." Like, why would they do that? Yeah, that's not what's going to happen at all. And also, like, I think that the Nazi Party was referred to as like National Socialist Party too. It's not like they were just referred to only as Nazis. So yeah, they're going to call themselves another word, like, you know, the, party of protecting the identity of Britain or something like that people can get behind, and then they'll do the same thing. It's exactly what it was. Yeah, some of your chat's brain dead. Well, it's not that they're brain... I don't hold it against people for being mad at me for this, because I just don't think that they know what they're talking about, right? So it's like, I see people that get mad about, like, what I'm saying about this, and it's like, of course you're going to get mad. Because if you don't know anything about the history of it and how it's happened, then, yeah, you would easily be like, oh no, this can never happen. Yeah, it's people are just naive. I mean, it's sad, but there it is. Most people forget how gigantic our country is. He did preface many times he's not informed about the subject. Every American. So there's no instance of, like, anybody actually having a point of view that... I don't know if it's Islamophobe to say this. Muslims never integrate into Western values. So, I saw a stat, over 3,000 UK people have been arrested for posts on social media. I understand your frustration, bro. Also, some Nigerian parents moved to UK 40 years ago, and I couldn't get through Asmon's video about it. I was going to write out a long essay, but I ultimately decided against it. I want to say that, it's not like he's going to advertise himself as the next Hitler. No, I don't think so. It's really surprising to me that so many people can be so delusional, though. But I think it really goes to show how bad education is. Because, like, a lot of people, and to be honest with you guys, when I think about, like, what I know about this, I didn't learn the majority of this in school. Like, I've learned it by just reading or watching videos or talking with, like, my dad or my mom about it or something like that. And they've told me about it. And so, I think really it's... Because here's what's really problematic about it, is that you can have the dissonance of a person who brings up a massive bullet point list of how somebody like Hitler gets into power, but then fucking, you know, like, just say he is the antithesis of British values. And they just don't see the dissonance there at all. It's disappointing for me to see that. I know that there's some people that are mad because they think that I am minimizing this problem down to, like, just people being racist or whatever. But I don't think that they're understanding what I'm saying. And I think that honestly only time will prove what I'm saying right, and that's it.